Wildlife in Focus. It's just a class act. It's a pleasure to be a member of it. Actually, this year I got on the board. That passionate about it. Just being in this contest one time made me a passionate supporter of Wildlife in Focus. The people that are behind it, the concept, the contest, the camaraderie of the people that you associate with.
Would you recommend this to other photographers, landowners, and maybe why?
The answer is an unqualified yes. Very knowledgeable people, extremely rewarding experience, and it is not, let me emphasize, not just for professional photographers. Quite the opposite. Amateur photographers can learn a great deal, associate themselves with other amateurs as well as experienced people. This is a contest that many people would benefit from.
Sure. My name's Bill Weekly. I live in Mountain Home, Texas on a ranch that I run. I'm a ranch manager by profession. Got into photography a couple years ago and haven't put it down since.
Fantastic. So how did you hear about the Wildlife in Focus contest and what motivated you to participate?
So funny story, I met Sandy on the internet on Facebook and came out to his ranch a couple times and shot photos. And about a week before the deadline to enter the contest, he called me and said, "Hey, you want to enter this contest?" I hadn't really heard of it. I kind of looked it up and said, well, sure, why not? You only live once. So that's how I heard about it. That's how I got into it. And I haven't looked back since. It's been a great experience. I decided to get out of the blind and lay on my belly in the dirt to try to get a picture of a thrasher that kept running back and forth from the water and the cactus. And I'd been on my belly, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. And I look up from the camera and out of the corner of my eye, I see movement. I look up and there was a bobcat standing about 15 yards away. So I froze, didn't know what to do. She's sitting there. So I slowly moved the camera towards her and I start snapping pictures. I was too afraid to zoom the lens out or anything. And I fired 400 or 500 pictures out before I realized she was going to be okay with it. And as she started walking in, I zoomed out and she came into about 10 yards away and started drinking water. And that's an experience I'll never forget. And the photos turned out amazing, I think. So this contest has done more for me than I could probably ever do to repay Wildlife in Focus. It as an amateur photographer, it really brought me out of my bubble and forced me to try things I would have never even imagined trying photographically. And it's just been an amazing experience that has taught me more than I could ever imagine, and it still is today. I would definitely recommend it to everybody, whether you're a professional, an amateur, especially the amateurs. You're going to learn so much about yourself, about photography, and it's going to teach you more than you can ever imagine and push you to limits you didn't think you could do. So absolutely would recommend it to photographers. I can't speak on the landowner side, but my experience with the landowner, it's been phenomenal, and I think landowners really get a lot out of it as well. Especially ones that aren't necessarily photo ranches, because they might not realize the kind of animals they have on the ranch they have, and having a photographer come out and spend this time on their ranch photographing wildlife can really be eye-opening to those landowners to see what they truly have on their property. I wouldn't be the photographer I am without the hunting skills I had. It's been a jump start for me. I'm not saying you couldn't do it without the hunting background, but growing up hunting and working in the hunting industry for 20 plus years really boosted my ability to get close to animals and be able to know what they were going to do, when they were going to do it. And to me, that's a big part of wildlife photography, is understanding the animals you're shooting.
Miles, can you tell us about the kind of people that join the contest in Wildlife in Focus? I mean, my conception is that I didn't try to join for years because I thought it was only for professional photographers. It was such a well-known contest and run so well, and at such a high level. I thought that I had to, number one, be invited, and number two, that I had to be a professional photographer. Can you address that?
Yeah, unfortunate that you had that impression, because that's hasn't been the case and is not the case. anyone can participate in the contest. And we've had a number of people that started as amateurs and then have ended up becoming pros and lead people all over the world now. However, the majority of people who participate are definitely amateurs. And even though the contest that's coming up is 100 days, there's a 100-day window to participate. You're not required to photograph every day. I personally have talked to my landowner teammate, and their interest was in everyone sharing an experience in wildlife, getting photos, learning more about their property. So they were fine with me coming in for, I think, 10 days, fly in and spend 10 days to participate in the contest.
Anyone that really has a love of nature photography, sign up, try it, because you're going to learn something, and you're going to get out of that comfort zone that you're in, which it's helpful. I actually learned how to use the flash on birds and use it right, where you're not blowing it up. So that's that muscle memory on where my buttons are, and so don't be afraid.
Sure, I'm Wilfred Korth. We're on the Barnhart Q5 Ranch and Nature Retreat. So we're a 700-acre ranch in South Texas. We're close to Goliad, Texas, which is one of the historic centers in Texas. If you've been wanting to document what you have on your ranch and you're open to inviting a photographer, you should seriously consider. It's amazing. They'll take, the ones we've had, they've taken over 10,000 photos, I think, every contest. So obviously, we take that many. Not all of them are museum quality, but everyone is a unique capture on the ranch. It's fun to work with them, and again, you get to see the ranch through their eyes. When you're on the ranch day to day, everything kind of becomes the same, and you're not seeing it the way others see it. So to have them come on and drive around the ranch and help them look for stuff, it's a whole new view, and it re-energizes you and why you're doing what you do on your ranch.
Can you tell us about your experience as a wildlife in focus photographer?
Yeah, so I guess I first participated in the contest as a photographer in 2007, and the contest has been up till now held every other year, every odd year. And so I think I missed one time, and at different properties, but the last couple times I made such good friends with some folks that I just go back there and have a great time. And it's been something that developed my photo skills and my ability to share about diversity, from little insects to big game to nighttime photography. And
Well, when you associate with a landowner, number one, you have private access to well-managed lands. You develop a camaraderie with the ranch. You develop an empathy for the ranch. The rancher gets to get quality pictures and learn something about wildlife photography as well. It's a great, outstanding partnership. And the friendships that I have made from the people who have come out because of this contest will probably be lifelong friendships. So as a ranch owner, I love having interesting people come to my ranch on a quality basis. We look forward to entering this contest, submitting our pictures, going to the banquet and seeing how our pictures did, seeing how our teammates' pictures did, see how other friends' pictures did. It's a truly rewarding experience that goes on year after year after year.
A lot of fun.
Well,
So
fantastic.
the other goal of this whole event is to inspire people to be outside, to
Right.
get involved in conservation of
Mhm.
habitat and wildlife, learn about it. So did you end up learning, or how do you think this contest helps people learn and engage in wildlife conservation?
For me, it was realizing just how many species there were. I used to shoot a lot down at the coast, so the smaller birds, I really didn't shoot a lot except for in my backyard. I have learned so much about the migratory birds coming through, and with La Lamita especially. If it weren't for the land management that Dr. Hurwitz does, there wouldn't be a place for the birds. There wouldn't be water for the birds or any other wildlife on that property. So it's providing, if they're managing the land and conserving, they're providing habitat, they're providing the resources that all these animals need to survive and thrive.
Well, thank you.
I definitely didn't have the same expensive cameras that I saw some people had and big lenses. I did find a telephoto lens, but there's so many different categories in the contest that you can shoot landscapes and macro, insects and creative editing, and you can work your way to get close to things. So you can pretty much use any camera that meets the minimum requirements of shooting raw. And that actually, this last time I checked my iPhone, and it had the ability to shoot raw images with a large enough pixel size, it was 12 megapixels, to enter photos into the contest. And
Yeah, absolutely. So, everybody thinks that ranches in Texas have oil wells, which pays for all our operations. Not true for everybody. So, my wife and I, as we decided, what other things are we going to do for revenue streams, decided to open the ranch up to the public. So we moved in 3 guest houses, so we can accommodate at any one time up to 20 people on the ranch. 2 of the houses have kitchens or ready for you to just roll in and spend a weekend or a week. So, and then every house, we also, and outside of the house, we there too manage for birds. We keep feeders going all the time. So you don't have to go much further than the guest house to experience all the wildlife we have. Absolutely. So we were invited to an awards banquet for Wildlife in Focus by one of our friends in Beeville years ago. While we were sitting at one of the tables, we met one of the photographers who was in that contest, also from Beeville, and struck up a conversation about what Wildlife in Focus was and how much she enjoyed it. So the next time it rolled around, we found a photographer, which was the lady from Beeville, and had a great experience with her. And what we really enjoyed is all the wildlife bird photos she captured on the ranch that really showed us our diversity. We knew we had diversity, but now we had it in photos. And since then, we've done it 4 more times with different photographers. And every year it's so much fun to see the ranch as such through their lens and their eyes. So, and looking forward to doing it again.
Well, fantastic. Do you have any thoughts on, does it work if you agree with a photographer for a short, if they can't make it the whole 100 days, so that's still okay as a landowner?
Sure. Yeah, we've had multiple photographers now that they couldn't live on the ranch for 100 days. So, but when they were here, they were focused and accomplished a lot in a very short time, and they all had winning photos. So that that always tells me, well, you don't have to be here for 100 days to actually compete. So, and I've always been pleased with their efforts. And if you're looking at a photographer to be there for 100 days, that's a big commitment. But 2 weeks, 3 weeks out of the whole time, 30 days, that works too. It works well. But it's been a real nice addition to the visitor center.
Well, thank you. So I have one last question, because there's going to be a new, or this 2025 will have the traditional team event. We'll also have an individual photographer contest and a video contest. And the individual contest is meant for situations where people might accept an extra photographer that just competes in a separate contest. Do you envision that being a good fit for a place like this, where they come and rent your cabin and they have a chance to enter a contest, even though it's in addition to the team event?
Absolutely. We already try to cater to outdoor photographers. So this is just another way of hopefully getting more photographers to come onto the ranch. Again, a different set of eyes. One thing I've learned is each outdoor photographer focuses on different things. They're not typically generalists. They want a specific things, whether it's mammals or birds or insects or flowers. So to have the opportunity to host more photographers, even if just for a weekend, will be nice. And it helps us spread the word about what we're doing the wildlife we're hosting, and shows that we think we're doing a pretty good job in preserving the wildlife on our ranch. So my wife and I, we do serve on the board for the Friends of the Aransas National Wildlife Refuge. And in the past couple of years, they built a brand new visitor center. Their exhibits aren't in yet, so they had this blank canvas in their visitor center that needed something. And the first thing I thought about was the Wildlife in Focus display, which is awesome. And since we've installed it, when visitors come into that center now, that's the first place they stop. And some of them have spent, an hour looking at all the different photos. And then we have a nature store in that center. Then they go over and we have Wildlife in Focus photo books in there. And a lot of them are taking those photos home with them so they can look at them again. But it's been.
We're interviewing today Mr. Miles Phillips. He is a college professor, a wildlife photographer, and works with Wildlife in Focus. Miles, would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Miles Phillips. Like I said, I personally enjoy wildlife and photography for most of my life, but it really wasn't until the contest that I really kind of got more committed to wildlife photography. I work in sustainable tourism and helping people with small business development, and it's really what connected me at first to the people and the landowners that were doing photography activities in Texas.
And how do you think this helps conservation?
Because from the point of view of, you can't really support and love something if you don't know about it, and photography and seeing the images is a way to connect with a really wide audience. Some of them just because they're aesthetic, some of them because of the knowledge, some because of the challenge of getting the photo. But I see that ability for people who just see the photos to be aware of what's happening, in particular on private lands, because most folks around the country, the world, don't have a direct connection to agricultural lands and ranches, don't know what goes on there, don't understand the land ethic that people have. And this way is to me, I've seen it firsthand, how people come to understand landowner and cultures, rural cultures and urban get to mix a little bit this way more than they might, and understanding comes along. And I think overall that benefits conservation and the ability for agricultural landowners, ranchers to make money and make it work.
Can you tell us a little about what you're doing with Wildlife in Focus now? I understand that you're involved with the organization. What is your function there now?
I just have such fond feelings for the organization, the people I've met through this, that even though I live in Oregon, I was like, if I can be of any help, I'd love to. So just the end of last year in 2023, I joined the board, and because of my role in enterprise development, wildlife, tourism, wildlife businesses, I took on the role of being the photo contest director and have been taking input from people. So I'm kind of working as the coordinator for the upcoming contest in 2025, where we've made some changes. We're going statewide this time, where we added a video contest, and we added an event where any individual photographer can shoot in an individual contest rather than the team contest. So, and from $100 on up entry fee. So it's really widely available. We're really hopeful about expanded participation. And well, thank you. And I am so grateful to Claire Vaughn invited me to join and take it. She's our president and is doing so much to raise awareness, and the whole board. It's a really great group of people. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.